Good evening, everyone. I'm your host, comedian, magician, Danny Whitson. But it's all tricks aside, because tonight we're turning the paranormal into the normal. Join me as we explore the gray areas of reality. We're going to talk all things paranormal, UFOs, ghosts, cryptids, and aliens, and see how it's all connected. This podcast is brought to you by the Experiencer Support Association, and we are live. So if you're an experiencer yourself, or you're just plain nosy, be sure to send me your question and subscribe to the podcast. Now, get ready, because it's going to get deep. No, really, we're going to go way out there, because this is Beyond the Tinfoil Hat. What's happening, my paranormal junkies? Welcome to Beyond the Tinfoil Hat, and I'm your host, Danny Whitson. Guys, we got a fantastic show lined up for you tonight. But first, I got to say, we are broadcasting live from the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network on 105.3 FM on the Gulf Coast and 107.7 in New Orleans. Now, guys, I don't know if you've been paying attention. Well, of course you guys have, but I even talked about this last week, but we just had our second UAP Congress hearings, okay? And that was kind of the big deal going on for me last week. I was excited. It was like Christmas morning. And I got to say, I'm happy with the results. I'm satisfied. Now, I didn't learn anything new, and you guys probably didn't either, especially if you follow this as long as we have, you know. But here's the good news about this. The bright side about these UAP hearings is that it's getting out there. It's getting out there to the people who don't follow, who have no clue about this. So you're starting to hear a lot of people like, what? You mean we've got UFOs in our oceans? We got, what's going on, you know? So the more they do these things, the more it gets out there, the better it is for all of us. So, you know, kudos to that. Guys, all you whistleblowers, the people that showed up there to testify, keep fighting a good fight. All right. Tonight's guest, okay, this is a cool, because we don't do this a lot, but this is a two-timer. She's been here once before. Yes. And now she's back. We loved her so much, we got to have her back. Yes, we do. Tonight's guest, she's a lifelong contactee of interdimensional extraterrestrial beings, and she's a leading voice in the alien disclosure and spiritual transformation. Let's give a big welcome for Nancy Thames.
Yay.
How you doing, Nancy?
Oh, I'm doing wonderful. And I agree with you. I think that it was great. The hearings got out the information to the general public. I'm seeing new people showing up on Facebook, asking questions and seeing their responses. It's amazing. It really is.
It is. And, you know, I think it's, you know, you see all these TikTokers. I'm seeing a lot of stuff popping up where they're making these videos now talking about it. So I love that it's getting out there now. It's getting out there. But I'll tell you what, before we dig into that, though, Nancy, we've been here before, so some of our viewers know who you are. Remember you from a few episodes back. But for the ones who may not, do you care to introduce yourself a little better for me?
Absolutely. My name is Nancy Thames. I'm a lifelong contactee with interdimensional extraterrestrials, and I have face-to-face physical contact with them. It all started when I was I consciously remember about 2 to 3 years old, especially 3. And I've been having ongoing visits with them all through my life and continuing to this very day. So I've learned a great deal about who I am. I've learned to get to know myself within who I am on a soul level. I realize that I'm not just Nancy Thames that grew up in Tennessee and now lives in Mississippi, that I am, my soul incarnated here from the interdimensional realm. And I'm here for this beautiful occurrence that's happening on Earth. We are ascending and we are reaching higher levels of consciousness that's never happened to this on Earth at all since we were created. So, I'm very excited, and I see the changes that's going on. So, yeah. So to sum it up,
Well, there's
I love who I
there
am.
we go.
Yeah, I love who I am.
Well,
I was the black sheep for so long, and I was the one that I was told to shut up and not talk about these things. And now the tables are turning, that people are turning and asking me questions. And, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. We should, all of the experiencers need to get to the point to where they feel good and comfortable, sharing and talking about this information, because this all happened for a reason. It all serves a purpose, and we're finally getting to play our roles in this.
For the longest too, we remember whenever it was so taboo, the topic come up, you would be laughed out of the room. And, now it's not, that's not the case. Now, the topic does come up, and it's, it's debatable. At least there's a conversation with it, and that's for the people who aren't following what's going on, and now with the second hearings. And here's the other thing: whatever your opinions are, it's still a good thing. It's still a real good thing. Like there's some people who don't like Lou Elizondo. There's some people who don't like, some of the, it's weird that politics will find its way into anything. You know what I mean? But regardless, it's good for the overall truth.
Because this is a worldwide. This is a worldwide phenomenon. It's not just about the people in ufology. It's affecting the whole world. So, yeah. And as we shift, we're going to see conflicts within organizations, within our personal lives, and within ufology itself, So it's a big time to be here on Earth. We're all part of this. It's great.
And we all want to be the people to say, I told you so. But I mean, that's really not our jobs, really. We've been jumping and screaming and waving our hands. Hey, I'm telling you, this is real. This is going on. But like I said, I think it's going to do a whole lot. That second hearings, we'll see what happens from here on. It's just the sky's definitely not the limit. We do have a question though, and you do remember this, Nancy, on this show. We have fantastic questions, and here we are right off the bat with our very favorite questionnaire, Live Light. Hello, Lisa. I see you. How are you doing, Lisa? Great to see you on here. All right. Here's our question from Liv. I think we are in the era of the CE6, a collective effort to make connect with celestial entities. Do you think the personal experiences is the true disclosure?
Absolutely.
It's a good question.
We understand frequencies, vibration. Our government, unfortunately, seems to think about the nuts and bolts. They want to know about the technology. The truth is, we don't have any ways of matching that technology. What we need to be concerned about the people who are flying these craft. And so the experiences are the next link to understanding this phenomenon. And she said something about C6, and I think that's she's talking about like using radio frequencies and different things to try to communicate in a different way than what we've been doing, with SETI and with Voyager. All those type things are a technology that we designed, that we understand, and that only works within our visual range and intellectual level. And what these interdimensional beings are, they're way above that. Our physics, our technology does not apply to them. So we need to find a happy medium, whether it, wherever the frequency could be within water, it could be in places that we least expect. There's a lot of different ways that we can probably have communication with them. If we sit back and listen, they'll probably teach us.
The thing I really found interesting was, I don't know, first of all, I do want to say this, in the Congress hearings, I was a little excited because my hometown came up. Oak Ridge, Tennessee was mentioned in the hearings. And I thought that was super cool, because, they're there's a lot of UFO history right here in this town. A
Absolutely.
lot of history, just as much as if you want to know the truth, we have just as much as Roswell here, but no one talks about it here for some reason. It's been very, it's my town didn't want to be known for that for some reason. So, but if you do just a little digging, there's some really interesting stuff that has took place here in Oak Ridge with UFO phenomena. But I do want to say this, kind of a little bit on that question is Congressperson Luna. She asked a very interesting question about the UFOs being somewhat alive on their own. Like it being, an intelligent type of craft on its own, not necessarily have biologics operating it. That's something interesting to think about.
Yeah, they're living conscious beings, but their pilots connect telepathically. They connect with the craft, and that's how they travel. For us,
and I remember you talking about that last time.
Yeah. For us, our technology is a separate entity. So if I went outside, I'd have to carry the laptop with me or the phone with me to communicate with you. In their reality, in their life, their higher consciousness is their technology. It is not a separate entity, and they are biological. They are not AI. Yeah, but their craft are living conscious beings.
So that and see, that's where Lou was talking about in the hearings about how fast these things can travel, and so much more faster than me and you couldn't sit in there. We wouldn't survive the G's, and
absolutely our bodies would explode.
So that's my point to people who haven't been following this stuff, and people who want to say it's a drone, or people who say, no, guys, you don't understand. We can't go that fast. We can't hop in and do these things. That's what makes this so, insane, crazy. It doesn't make sense. So, but what do you think's the next step going to be, Nancy? Because you did mention this shift kind of thing that's going on. Do you think this kind of played part of it? And do you think we will get another hearing, or do you think we'll get a major whistleblower? Or
well, I think that they're going to have to finally realize that they're looking at this from the nuts and bolts. And this is so much more. This is about the evolution of humanity. This is about the evolution of mankind. This is about us learning to jump into a new era of understanding who we are. And, as we reach higher levels of consciousness, that doesn't mean that we're going to reach their level. So, but what it does mean is that when we can get more positive, more mature acting with our intelligence and our own technology, they will start gifting us more, and we can advance further. But we have to get out of this negative realm, 3D realm that we're in. And that's the problem, is that some people are perfectly content with being in this negative warlike realm because they have control. They can have their own narrative, where there's others of us that want to see humanity go without war, see humanity have differences, but learn to intelligently work things out without wars, without famines, and without ugliness and evilness in the world. So, we're going to see a shift, and we might as well face it, regardless of what it is. It could be your people in your neighborhood. You're going to start seeing things differently, and you're going to notice, this occurring everywhere, at church or different places. There's going to be just a shift in consciousness. And eventually we'll.
Now, what do you think? Okay, I kind of
part.
Well, I kind of played around with this thought, and, I'd be interested in your opinion on this.
Sure.
I started looking into, and I was wondering, a few weeks back, there was some rumors dropping that they were going to make an announcement that they have discovered maybe a possible signal with the James Webb telescope had picked up something that may show proof of life. And then also Zuckerberg, believe it or not, Mark Zuckerberg has his own company out there searching for life, kind of like SETI. And I had no clue. I had no clue that he was in this business doing this. But there was a rumor flying around that Zuckerberg they had made contact, and it hasn't been announced yet. So with those little rumors floating around, I was thinking, is this part of the disclosure movement from the Illuminati or whatever we want to call them? And why would they want to do this? And then I got a little worried because I was thinking, are they worried about World War III? Are they thinking that with what's going on with Russia and Ukraine and then Israel, and we're on the brink of World War III is a very real reality right now, would it be time now to give, let the cat out of the bag to keep people to calm down? But I tell you what, that was a lot. So think on that for a second. Let me get to Liv's question here real quick.
Okay.
Chris loves to pop them up here. Let's see. Liv, I believe humans have been socially engineered. I do too. I agree with you, Liv. Is the next step in our evolution as a species to be increase our frequencies? I think so. Will this end the divisions, manipulation, and control by the elites?
Yes.
Good question. Liv always has the great questions.
That's exactly why we're having this, what I call a shift or split, because those in control do not want humanity to not need them anymore because they lose their power. This is more about them losing power than it is money. They've been in charge of things, manipulating and using humans as puppets. So that's what's going to change. And they know this, so there's a lot of elite businessmen that, there's no more wars. Think about all the loss of money to these corporations and trillionaires. Every war that's ever occurred made somebody a trillionaire.
That's fact. 100% fact.
And a lot of time, and another thing too, you have to think about this, with this increase in consciousness, our awareness, and we're going to understand that the pharmaceutical companies are taking advantage of us. There are no cures because a cure does not increase the wealth in their pocketbooks, and it closes the corporation. If healthy, intelligent human beings are not what they want, but that's where we're headed, and that's where
that also touches on the that touches on the I did this is probably a few weeks ago. I read an article on the placebo effect, which is always something. Now, I'm not against modern day medicine, not at all, but there's something very interesting about your body healing itself just because you actually believe you're being healed. That's all that's happening. They're giving you sugar pills.
We've been told that we're going to die. We've been told that we, going to be. They give us all these toxins. It's in our water, in our foods. I mean, we have chemicals in our cereals and candy bars that European countries don't even allow. There's a lot of things that are going to change, and a lot of people are going to become unhappy because we're going to see massive changes.
Well, that was definitely a great question, Liv. Thank you so much. And and the thing about with what the state of the world is in right now, I don't know what's going to happen. I have no clue. But you said you feel like a shift, so maybe that's what's happening. Maybe that's part of it, and even with the hearings going on too. Maybe. But what I don't understand is, these things seem to like fly around nonchalant. They don't care really if we see them or not, and it seems like it's getting even more and more frequently. It's happening, and people are spotting UFOs, UAPs in broad daylight. They're getting the video, the cameras on their phone. They're seeing these things, and it's what are they? I wonder if they're waiting on us, or what's the case there? You know, what would be their
Actually,
purpose just to be out in
well,
the open?
they are not hiding for us. They've never been hiding for us. They're waiting for us to reach higher levels of consciousness, which with that means, we're locked into a 3D realm, so we can only visually see what we're allowed to see in this 3D realm. So as we increase and ascend more, our visual range increases, our awareness increases. People are becoming more aware and looking more in the skies, but we can visually see things, even things that are paranormal. Everything we're going to start seeing, eventually seeing colors we didn't see before. A lot of things are going to change, and it won't happen overnight because this is a divine plan in evolution. If everything happened like night and day, it would be too much for our brains to handle. So it will be done very slow, in a divine slow way, because we are all a part of this, and it has to be done this way so that it's fully acceptable and it doesn't flip human beings out. So we're going to see them more and more and more.
Okay, well, I guess that we are running a little slow.
Started,
it feels like we're being.
Yeah. Well, I even did an article today in my group about a new color. They've come up with a new color that only some people and some things can even pick up on. But there is another color. I can't think of the name of it right now, but I posted it I saw it on Facebook, so people can look around. Just Google a new color that will be coming in with our ascension. They're already talking about these things. So our governments are very aware of all the stuff that's occurring on Earth. And you have to understand, I think part of the reason why they're so slow about it is they're waiting for us to reach our ascended levels, because it is more acceptable by humanity. It's more acceptable as we, become more aware intellectually. It's not going to freak us out as much.
So basically, kind of like what you're saying is they're waiting on us to take another step in evolution to evolve to wherever we can see what we need to see. And, it's interesting what you say about the color, because, it's, I believe, I'm pretty sure, I may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure the color blue doesn't actually really exist in nature. Our minds, it's one of those things that they sorry about that. Cutting it. It must be a little slow on the streaming side. I don't know what's going on, but I apologize. Like I said, I feel like I'm streaming live on Netflix. That's paper, but they had a lot of buffering problems. So the color blue, I think we actually hallucinate that color in our minds. It's not really exist in nature.
Yeah.
That's interesting. A new color. That's cool.
Yeah. I think it was called Tron. They called it Tron, Tron, something like that. If people want to look it up, it's really interesting. Yeah. So that does not surprise me at all. I've already, the interdimensional beings have told me that we will start seeing certain things, and they've showed me visions, and our planet, our world is going to look differently. But again, it will not happen overnight. It will be a slow process. Yeah.
What do you think, like right now? What stage are we in right now? Like what's happening? What do you think?
Well, we're in it for sure. We're not anywhere close to the end, but we are past the very beginning of it for sure, because I'm starting to see, they're starting to talk about like a new color. They're starting to talk about different ways of, I think they're realizing that our old ways of trying to communicate out in outer space, we've got to rethink these things. And they finally admitted that all extraterrestrials are interdimensional. They are not from our solar system that we can visually see. They are in a dimension higher than us. That's how they pop in and pop out. They can see us, but we can't see them. And they're finally realizing that they're not that far away. They're all around us. We just can't see it. And they've proved that to me. They could be in the same room with me right now or with you, and you would not see it. But if they wanted you to know it, they could move something around and let you know. And they've done that with me. So yeah, they're all around us. We just can't see it, so they're not that far away. And a lot of these people that have come up with names of places that they're from and stuff, for whatever reason, their minds needed to rationalize it in a human way. And I don't think that they did that necessarily. Some may have done it on purpose, but they were just trying to rationalize a phenomena that we were unable to understand. And we're still not able to understand all of it, but we understand there's a lot we don't know now.
Absolutely. We've got another question from Liv Light. She says, how do you think increased public awareness of interdimensional and ETs with more personal stories coming out will affect the field of mental health? There is more support, I hope. You and me both, Liv. What do you think?
Oh, there is. And, I know that there's UAP Medical Coalition. There are other organizations within TESA and with OPUS, and they have counselors. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people that do need to seek mental health issues because they're fighting their own demons within them. And we've been programmed to think that things that we do not understand are evil or demonic. And that's simply not the case when it comes to extraterrestrials or interdimensional extraterrestrials. They're all interdimensional. So, yeah, I think that they're definitely preparing for that, and I think that will be part of the shift. A lot of those type people probably won't make the shift.
Well, definitely. I think, as far as, I think there will be more hope. I mean, there'll be more support. I think this affects mental health on a lot of levels. It can and will. And thank goodness that we're in an area that we're starting to get so much better with mental health too, as well. So, but great question, Liv. That's a fantastic question. And, keep them coming. I do want to apologize for some of the lag there. For some reason, internet connection isn't running as well as I would like. So there's a little lag time. But I tell you what, Nancy, you've been fantastic so far. Thank you so much answering these questions.
Welcome.
Fabulous, by the way. We have been talking about the UAP, the hearings, we've been bouncing around this topic, but I do know something very interesting. Well, thank goodness you're okay, happened since last time you were here. And so we're getting ready to cut to a commercial break. But when we come back from the commercial, I would like to talk to you about your experience. And in case you guys, don't know, Nancy had a near-death experience that she's going to share with us when we come back after this commercial break. And guys, get your questions warmed up and ready. Liv, send us some other good ones. And guys, we'll be right back after this commercial break with Nancy Thames.
Have you ever wondered, or maybe just thought to yourself, if there were others just like you? You know, people with extraordinary abilities, psychogenic advancement, and perhaps unique intuitions. Maybe you just wondered if there were other people who experienced unimaginable, unexplained, or even unusual and paranormal events. Are there people who have more questions, more fears than answers? Well, you're not alone. You've never been alone. We believe you. Sign up for EA today.
Business. It's your property.
Your assets are worth protecting. Blacklight Investigative and Surveillance Services specializes in patrolling and inspecting residential or commercial property against fire, theft, vandalism, terrorism, and illegal activity. People and buildings are monitored to prevent crime. Keep your property, your people, and your assets safe from threat. Our elite staff are dual licensed private investigators and security guards. Blacklight Investigative and Surveillance Services.
Go to blacklightiss.com.
All right, guys, welcome back to Beyond the Tinfoil Hat. And if you're just now tuning in, we've been talking to Miss Nancy Thames. Nancy, okay, before we cut to the break, you know, we brought up the topic of the near-death experience that you just recently had. And I want to say, you know, from everybody here at Beyond the Tinfoil Hat, we're glad you came back. We're glad you didn't leave us. But if you don't mind, you know, near-death experiences has always been something that I've always found very interesting. And if you don't mind, tell us about it. What happened?
Sure. It was back in March, and I had a wreck. I was hit by a commercial truck, and it, what they call T-boned me. Everything in my vehicle, all the airbags exploded, and I got thrown forward. So it was very bizarre. I spun around and ended up facing the opposite direction from what the direction I was going. And all of a sudden, everything just went white. It was like everything in the around just went white. And I'm sitting there, everything's white. And it was like time stopped. And I was just sitting there, you know, just like in stunned, more or less, not understanding what I knew. I had been in a wreck, but there was nothing to look out and see or anything. It was just all white. And then the next thing I know, there were all these paramedics, police, ambulance, fire department, et cetera. And they're putting me in a neck brace and all this stuff and putting me on a gurney. And so I go to the hospital, and anyway, later that night, the extraterrestrial interdimensionals came to me, and they explained to me and showed me exactly, I asked them, what was the white light? What happened? And they said, they blacked me out for a period of time, that, that I had died, that in this timeline, it was my time to go, but that because my job is not finished here, I had thrown a fit, and I decided to stay, and they agreed that I could stay. But what happened was, what they showed me was an entity came to get me and was carrying me. And I saw this, the entity was in a long robe and was carrying me like up under his arm. It was a male. And we were like going like up from the car. It was carrying me up through the sky. It was like kind of like my soul. It was carrying it. And we were traveling along, and I wasn't scared for whatever reason. I was calm, but I was not familiar with this entity at all. And I could not sense whether it was a good or a bad entity. It wasn't, I didn't sense anything like that. All of a sudden, since it was carrying me up under its arm and we were going through the sky, I was facing the opposite direction, and all of a sudden I could see all these clouds like rumbling and charging faster and faster towards me and this entity. And I pointed up and I said, a storm is coming. And the entity stopped, turned around, and looked at me. And really, the robe was down. I really couldn't even see the face, and said, why did you say that? And I said, they're coming. And it was an extraterrestrial craft was coming, and it came to get me. And then after that, I blacked out again. So, that's pretty much, I don't remember it really going before the elders, but they told me that I went before the elders, and that's where it was decided that I needed to come back and finish out my mission here, because I do know that I was a elder or interdimensional being, which is an elder before I incarnated to come to Earth. And I'm here for a reason. I didn't come here to be manipulated and play. I came here to help humanity understand this evolutionary process that we're going through. And it's very important to me that everyone has the opportunity to understand what's happening on Earth. Our Earth is ascending and changing. Human beings are. And I wasn't ready to leave, because I still feel like that humanity, I think a lot of us can ascend and change the human history, change what the experience on Earth is all about. Because right now we do not experience freedom. We do not understand, we're looking at being in a World War III. We are manipulated and controlled. We've never understood freedom. So I think that the whole human experience we can change this into being a better way of living and a better way of thinking. And we can have all the beautiful things that we want and need, even have our conflicts, so to speak, but done in a peaceful manner, So it's not like everything's just going to turn into like fairyland or anything like that. We're talking about humanity still thriving, and there will be a difference, but the way that we handle it will be more intellectually done, and with ways that, that doesn't create ugliness, evil, negativity. So they've showed me visions of all these things occurring. So it's going to be a beautiful thing. And, I don't want people to think that I'm saying that we're going to run around chasing butterflies and smelling roses, because that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying we can be a better version of who we are. We may never be perfect. We're humans, but we can be a better version of ourselves. And we can learn to be better and then be part of a galactic or cosmic community, because that's where we're headed. That's where they want us to go, is to learn to step beyond this 3D realm and move up into higher dimensions, to where we can interact with higher dimensional beings. And that's where we can really explore more about who we are on a soul level, understand our true origins, understand our full potential, and not have a world of disease and poverty and manipulation. We should be living much longer lives. We should have free energy. We should never have diseases, and all these things can change with new thinking and new awareness on about the world we're living in. So it's a big deal. This is a very big deal in the course of the history of humanity. This is very big, and I'm glad that more people are waking up. And thank you for doing this show, because you never know who's listening, and this might be the turning point that changes their course of their human experience. It's a very big deal.
Absolutely. Now, when your experience happened, you said these entities came to you, and you were already introduced to this world.
Oh, yeah.
So it wasn't something new to you. It wasn't like the first time you meeting these entities. No. So do you think they came to you as as a comfort thing, since you've already communicated with them? And
yes, the human experience is very, very short experience compared to all other extraterrestrial, interdimensional, other beings in other universes. And this is a very, I'm 64 years old. That's old. To me, that's old. But to them, that's nothing. They live to be 1,000 years or older. So this is nothing to them. And I have learned that the way that we even perceive death and see death is not the true nature of what it is. Death is a transfer of your soul. Our souls are immortal. So, I've learned all these things through them. So it's not like there's no end to our soul. And that's the beautiful thing about getting to know who you are within. You can lose a lot of these fears, all these anxieties about the unknown, because you become more aware of who you truly are. And, you find that there's no need to waste your time on, say, so much material things, or say being negative, or the ego, all these different things, because when you understand who you truly are, and that we're all energy beings here having a human experience, you'll enjoy your life better, and you'll enjoy it in a more positive way, and you'll drop away and walk away from the negative aspects. And that's how all these other extraterrestrials have evolved. They've gone through the same process that we're going through. This is not their first rodeo with seeing a race of beings go through an evolution. They did it long ago, and they're just waiting and watching us to see if we figure it out and if we make the next step in our evolution.
I totally agree with that. I think whenever you kind of accept some things, you realize like how much of your day-to-day life is just straight doesn't matter. It's BS, and there's more important things out there. And really the most important thing, and this is going to sound cliche, and I know people have heard this a million times, but love.
Yes.
I mean, that's
loving ourselves, loving our family, we spend more time at our work and with the people at work. That needs to change. We need to spend more time on being a healthier version of ourselves, getting the right food, the right exercise. We need to spend time with our families, because we're all having a human experience. We need to enjoy this experience. We're not necessarily enjoying it to the full capacity at the 3D level, the way that we are controlled to work 9 to 5. You have to make the best grades in school. It starts from our birth. We're given a social security number. We're a number. And it's just, we are programmed to do these certain things, and we're not getting to enjoy just being a human being. So
I totally agree with that. That is so dead on the money. We're programmed to be these little worker bees and do this, and you're supposed to do that, and that's garbage. That's not real. That's something that we've made up, you have no clue what your term limit is here. So, you might as well take the time you have, figure out what makes you happy, and try to be happy as much as possible. Always, try to be happy and love people, be good to people, spread love, do good things, put good energy out there. I'm with you 100%.
Yeah.
And I'm also on the I believe that our souls do go on. Our souls and our consciousness are the same thing, and it goes on to somewhere else. I think that's cool. Now with your experience, whenever the car wreck happened, and whenever you came back to this realm, where were you at? What was going on then?
There is an area
in the hospital, or
well, I was at the hospital for that night, and then eventually I came home. But they also showed me there is an area called soul transfer. And so after your soul leaves your body, you go to an area, and some people will call it a review. Some people, for me, it was like a soul transfer room. And what it is that you're there, you're in your own room. The room is designed for you. There's people working in that room it's not the first time you've ever been in that room. And you can go through and see remnants of where you were before. A lot of us have had this occur, and we just never even knew it. For me, they told me this was my third time. One other time I do remember. The first time I don't remember at all, but they showed me like at different stages of my life here on Earth. I've had 3 near-death experiences, and where I was at different ages, I could see drawings and different things, remnants of my being there. And so that's where you'll go through a life review, and then that's when they decide, or it's decided between you and the elders of what you do next. In my case, I came back to Earth, but in the other case, it would be, I'm sure, for me, I would go back to my source of origin, which is with the elders, the interdimensional beings, because I still have family there. I have family there. Wow. And every time I'm on craft, they're all around evaluating me, watching me, and I'm very missed by them. I know that. And
well, so, I tell you what, that's very interesting. I love the family aspect. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Liv who's been knocking them out all night here with the questions. She's got another very good question, and yeah, Liv, I see that she loves to make me pronounce words. That's Liv's other hobby. That's one of her listed hobbies is making Danny pronounce hard. Let's see. What an incredible near-death experience. Yes, it was. I also enjoyed your experience with the Zapotex. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
It sounds like I'm trying to pronounce like a stomach medication or something that I take for heartburn. Zapotec. Not sure what it is, but here we go. The cloud people in, okay, I do remember the Mexico story. Yes, I do remember that.
That is, the Zapotecs are the indigenous tribe of Mexico, and they had my son and I go down and spend time with them because that's where they wanted me to come back and tell humanity everything. They took their hands like this and said, everything is alive. Everything is alive. And then in the woods, I could see the trees talking, animals talking and communicating. So there's life all around us. And just because we can't see it doesn't mean it's not there. But as we ascend, we are going to start noticing and seeing things. It's just like if people will look up that color, and I think it's called Twan is what I saw. I did an article on it in my Facebook group, Time for Disclosure. But so there's a lot of changes.
The tail end on that question, I don't know if I got any practical advice on how to live our 3D with more interconnectedness.
You need to raise your frequency. The 3D realm is a realm where all these negative and warlike ways can occur. Anything evil can occur in this realm. So ideally, it is the process of evolution is to evolve out of that into a higher dimension where there is less of that. because we need to be a civilization that lives on for 1,000,000 or 1,000,000,000 years, just like the extraterrestrials. But if we stay in the negative 3D realm, we're going to start to go backwards. Our civilization will be, due to wars, due to misuse of technology, due to the evilness and corruption and manipulations, we're going to start to go backwards. A lot of bad things will occur, and our Earth is not going to respond well, as it's shown us this last year, is not going to respond well to all the evil doings that has occurred on Earth. And the way that I understand it, there is no repair for that. There is no repair. What has to occur has to occur. There is no repairing 3D negativity. The ideal is for us to ascend and evolve, and unfortunately, all of those negative occurrences will occur. And for those that stay in the 3D realm, those things, negative things will occur. But those of us that when we split, we will never, ever experience that.
So there's a way to avoid it.
Ascend, but try to be, you'll never be perfect, but work on being a better version of yourself. Understand that most of what we've been taught about our history of our planet, our origins, and a lot of just information is not true. And I'm not saying that we should be angry or mad or upset about that. I'm saying that we should recognize the fact that a lot of things are going to surface. A lot of unknown truths are going to surface. We have to forgive and forget the past and understand that we're going to get some new information that may be hard for us to swallow a little bit, but we're going to have to pull up our big boy britches and understand we don't know everything. We simply do not know everything. And we're going to be exposed to a lot of truths are going to surface, and it's like people say, well, why is this bad stuff? Why is this war happening? Well, you have to understand this is a worldwide phenomenon. For everybody in the world to understand, a lot of evilness has to surface so that they can eyeball it and identify and see our world needs to change. So we are going to face a lot of truths and see a lot of things happen because our Earth is ascending along with us, and we've got to catch up with her and ascend with her.
Well, I totally agree with you, Nancy, and kind of like to touch base on, kind of like back to what we did say, ascend and, love each other, don't be mean. Let's, and let's recognize that we need to fix these things. Before we get out of here, Nancy,
Yes.
where can the viewers and the listeners learn more about you? Where can they find you? Where are you going to be?
Well, I'll be doing more podcasts. The Facebook group, Time for Disclosure, we've never been alone. We are the disclosure because I believe us humans waking up, we are the disclosure. And then I've got another Facebook group I started, ET Realities and Beyond, website, timefordisclosure.com. So, yeah, you can find me anywhere, really. So thank you for having me.
And on those groups, you do make like announcements in case if you are doing any speakings or anything.
Absolutely. Yeah, I do. Yeah.
So, okay. And you said, what was the name of that Facebook group one more time?
Time for Disclosure. And then the other one is ET Realities and Beyond. Oh, it's Ascension and Beyond.
Awesome.
ET Realities, Ascension and Beyond. For some reason, I make mine extra long. I don't know why.
Well, I tell you what, like I said, this has been a fantastic interview, covered a lot of interesting topics, and let's keep our fingers crossed with the UAP hearings. Maybe, we'll see what happens, get the truth out there. And, just like last time you were on here, Nancy, thank you so much. It was a great podcast. We, even though we had, Liv kept us busy all night. Thank you, Liv, so much for the awesome questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Liv.
And I tell you what, Nancy, we'll see you next time. Thank you for coming on Beyond the Temple.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right, guys, that was a great episode. Thank you, Liv, so much for the fantastic questions. Guys, be sure to tune in and check this episode out wherever you listen to podcasts at, on Spotify, Apple, wherever. We're everywhere. Okay. So definitely check us out. If you guys have not done so, head over to Patreon, show some love at Heed the World on Patreon, make a little donation, get access to some very interesting articles on experiencersupport.org. There's new stuff pops up there all the time. And who knows what'll be next. And if you guys haven't, be sure to check out Ryan Stacy's podcast from Tessa, the founder of Tessa. It airs on Mondays at 6 p.m., streams live. He covers some very interesting topics, debunks a lot of stuff. So maybe you need a little bit of debunking in your life. There we go. Ryan can be the fun police. So, but also, though, you need that. You got to keep things even and level. So Ryan is fantastic with that. Guys, if you have not done so, head over to and show your boy some love. Danny Whitson, comedian, magician. That's me. Head over to Instagram at Super Magic Boy on Instagram. Give me a like. Give me a follow. And then on Danny Whitson Magic and Comedy on Facebook, you can give me a follow there too. I post upcoming episodes of this show. I talk about where I'm actually going to be with my show. If you would like to come see my actual live stage show, that's a good way how to do it right there. They're on Instagram at Super Magic Boy and Danny Whitson Magic and Comedy on Facebook. And also, I don't know who our guest is next week, but we will be back next week. And it's just me flying solo here. Our man, Chris Green, Too Nice to Be Mean, will be taking off next week. So it'll just be me. So, but you guys definitely need to tune in. Bring your questions because it's going to be a heck of a show. And keep following the UAP hearings. Maybe we'll get some more information, maybe some new whistleblowers. Let's hope that's what happens. And like always, folks, we are broadcasting live from the E-United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network on 105.3 FM on the Gulf Coast and 107.7 in New Orleans. Guys, like always, keep the paranormal normal. I'm your host, Danny Whitson, and this has been the Beyond the Tinfoil Hat. See you next Tuesday. All right, that does it for this episode of Beyond the Tinfoil Hat. A big shout out for tonight's awesome guest, and a bigger shout out for everyone who tuned in. And if you haven't done so yet, be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube or wherever it is you listen to your podcasts. And like always, be sure to stay curious, heed the world, and keep the paranormal normal. I'm your host, Danny Whitson, and this has been Beyond the Tinfoil Hat.